Some nice ones, thank you.
He's a legend. I think he can do it. Absolutely. I mean, it's not going to be easy. But
how do you feel about Manny Pacquiao?
No,
as
I love
Manny.
I'm glad Manny going in too. Manny's one of the dudes that I think definitely deserves to be in. Manny always has been and always will be one of my favorites because of the way he fights. I mean, a guy to come back after being knocked out in his...
Manny Pacquiao is past his prime. He's not.
Boxing professionals are sharing their thoughts on the upcoming clash between Manny Pacquiao and Mario Barrios. Oscar de la Hoya has openly expressed his support, stating that he wishes Pacquiao the very best. He strongly believes Pacquiao is more than capable of pulling off a win, referring to him as a true legend of the sport. According to de la Hoya, Pacquiao's wealth of experience and fighting spirit still give him a legitimate shot at victory, even against a younger, more active opponent like Barrios.
I wish him all the best.
Quadra, I love him.
Can he do it?
Quadra?
Can he do it? Absolutely. Manny Pacquiao's
Oscar needs.
He's a legend. You know,
some nice ones, thank you.
He's a legend. I think he can do it. Absolutely. I mean, it's not going to be easy, but I think he can do it. Yeah.
Roy Jones Jr. speaks with deep admiration, calling Manny Pacquiao one of the greatest fighters the sport has ever seen. His respect isn't based solely on Pacquiao's accolades, but also on his willingness to consistently face top-tier opponents. For Jones, Pacquiao's return to the ring is exciting because it offers fans a chance to witness flashes of his past brilliance. He views this as an opportunity for Pacquiao to reignite his legacy by outshining younger competitors, proving that true greatness doesn't fade with age. Jones's sentiments reflect the emotional backing that fans crave, the hope that legends still have more to offer, even when the odds seem stacked against them.
But how do you feel about Manny Pacquiao?
No, I love Manny, and I'm glad Manny going in too. Manny's one of the dudes that I think definitely deserves to be in. Manny always has been and always will be one of my favorites because of the way he fights. I mean, a guy to come back after being knocked out in two of his first three fights, then come back and do all the things that Manny did. That story is also just as awesome as Manny Pacquiao's story. You feel me? I mean, come on. Most guys can't bounce back from a knockout period. He got knocked out early in his career twice and came back and did all this?
Eddie Hearn takes a more measured stance on Pacquiao's comeback, balancing respect with realism. As a seasoned promoter who has observed the rise and fall of many careers, Hearn recognizes the risks of comebacks driven by nostalgia. While he doesn't discount Pacquiao's immense talent, acknowledging that few fighters boast such an impressive resume, he stresses that time away from the sport matters. Long periods of inactivity can slow reflexes and weaken conditioning, particularly against younger, more active opponents like Barrios. Hearn concedes that Pacquiao could still outperform many fighters, but he warns against expecting a repeat of his prime form. His message is clear: admire Manny's legacy, but avoid placing unrealistic expectations on his shoulders.
It's a very contentious subject, like, people moaning about Manny Pacquiao. I think Manny Pacquiao is still good enough to beat most fighters in the top 20 at 147 pounds. He's clearly not the fighter that he once was. You're not going to be at that age. My problem is that he's been inactive for quite a long time. Like, we were talking about fighting him with Conor Benn maybe 6 months ago or a year, and every month or 3 months or 6 months that passes, you do become a lot older. So, I guess there's two questions. One is, should he be fighting again? And at the end of the day, if he's good enough to beat everybody outside of the top 20 in the world, then why not? But should he be fighting for the world title? I guess that's another question. In the commercial world of boxing, the answer is yeah, probably. In the ratings world and activity world, the answer is probably not.
Do you think it's strange that he's coming off the couch and getting a title fight like that?
I think when you've achieved what he's achieved, you've always got the right to do things a little bit differently to others. And with all due respect, Barrios is not Boots, and Barrios is not Crawford. And that's why we pushed the Conor Benn fight. Conor Benn, his best win is against Algieri or Van Heerden. So actually Pacquiao is a step up. And people were still complaining at me for mentioning that fight, like Conor Benn is Boots, but he still hasn't had those wins yet.
Ricky Hatton sounds the alarm about how far the sport is willing to go in pushing aging fighters into the spotlight. He sees the Pacquiao versus Barrios matchup as part of a concerning trend, one where legendary names are granted competitive fights that could ultimately do more harm than good. Reflecting on his own career and the late return of fighters like Mike Tyson, Hatton suggests that today's regulators may be too lenient when it comes to fighter safety. While he doesn't deny that Pacquiao still has skill, he questions whether he should be sanctioned to fight at such a demanding level.
4 years he's fighting for the WBC welterweight title. That's July the 19th in Vegas, ironically. What did you make of that news when you heard it?
Well, it's boxing today, innit? To be honest with you, boxing's, you know, if you can let a 58-year-old Mike Tyson box a Jake Paul, then, you know, Manny Pacquiao going back at 46 doesn't look too bad, does it? But Manny is coming back, though. You know, Tyson was coming back fighting Jake Paul. Manny's coming back fighting for the world title. But, and I say this with love, you know, how has Manny got his world title shot? He's been retired 6 years. He can't. He's got that on our previous successes, hasn't he? You know, to walk straight after being retired so many years ago, straight into a world title fight. How is that allowed possible? What happened? Surely he must have been dropped out of the rankings when he retired. All of a sudden, he decided to make a comeback. They put him straight in at #1 contender. I think only boxing can answer that.
I think he's. Did you say 5th, Joe? He's been already placed 5th in the world ranking.
5th in the. How can he be placed back in the top 10?
Comeback fighter.
Yeah, you know, when you've been retired years, and you know, on your previous, he was a hell of a fighter a few years back, but we don't know what he's going to be like today. So you know, you'd like to think he'd have a couple of warm-up fights so we can say, yeah, and then get him in. But boxing these days, I think the money's everything in it.
You fought both, obviously. In your opinion, who's better? Who's tougher?
I think Floyd Mayweather. Yeah, I think Floyd Mayweather. I mean, and that sounds rich because he absolutely was probably one of the most brutal knockouts in boxing history, I'd say. You know what I mean? When I see him getting knocked out by Pacquiao on Instagram or YouTube or anything like that, it's in the top 10 of the most destructive knockouts of all time.
Yeah.
But I was a little bit past myself back in the day. You know, I'd had one or two. You know, I wasn't a master of defence like Floyd Mayweather. I'd take 4 to get one in sometimes.
Ben Shalom joins the conversation with a tone of genuine concern. As a promoter, he understands the allure of staging a major event featuring a legendary name like Pacquiao. However, he also feels a duty to prioritize fighter safety, especially when athletes are beyond their physical prime. Shalom warns that while Pacquiao's name draws massive attention, the personal cost of such comebacks is often overlooked. He highlights past examples of former champions who endured significant physical and emotional damage after pushing themselves too far in the twilight of their careers.
To Manny Pacquiao, unbelievable career that we may never have a career like that again. I want you to take with you, when it comes to Manny Pacquiao, is moments. By taking themselves out of a comfort zone, challenging themselves. And Manny Pacquiao is a dinosaur when it last of a dying breed. We're not going to see too many fighters like this ever again. And Pacquiao is going to be the type of fighter that we tell our kids about. Pacquiao has 20 wins, greater than some of your favorite fighters' best win. Manny Pacquiao has 3 Hall of Fame careers in one, winning legit titles in 8 different weight classes. Pacquiao's legacy will age better and better and better. Times go on and on and on. A fighter like Floyd Mayweather, I think his legacy will diminish a little bit. Salute to Manny Pacquiao, one of the greatest of all time.
Ryan Campbell takes a more balanced stance. He acknowledges that Manny Pacquiao is no longer the fighter he once was. Time affects everyone. Yet he also believes that extraordinary athletes can still create magical moments, regardless of age. Referencing George Foreman's legendary comeback, Campbell reminds fans that boxing has a history of surprising outcomes. While he stops short of predicting a win for Pacquiao, he remains open to the possibility of something unexpected happening.
Up for a Senate position in the Philippines. So we always know that Manny is a busy man. He gets after it. He also dares to be great. And this is wild news. Look, in the boxing underground rumor mill, this had been floating around for a couple months. We just didn't know if it was going to be for real. Was Manny really going to commit to not just coming back after 4 years away, after just one fight in the last 6 years at age 46, but to come back directly into a title fight against a young, in his prime, active champion in Mario Barrios? It's interesting theater, to say the least. It's a pay-per-view main event, reportedly for July 19th. And we know Manny Pacquiao has always brought big business, but now he's going to bring it in more of the late career George Foreman type of way to etch himself into that record book even further. Can Manny do it? I mean, look, the odds are certainly against him. But there's one thing about certain legends in this game. Think Bernard Hopkins, who fought into a very late age. Some of them, as long as they can physically get themselves into that ring, sometimes they can reproduce magic for one night. So it's a romantic situation. I got cats walking around. Yep. People are excited to see the Pac-Man back. You just got to kind of figure out, Is this for real? Is he going to be for real? Or are we going to send him into a physical, violent retirement?
Greg Hackett delivers a brutally honest take, stripping away the nostalgia and sentiment. To him, this fight isn't about legacy or greatness. It's about business. He firmly believes that if Pacquiao had faced Barrios in his prime, the outcome would have been completely one-sided. But those days are gone. Hackett argues that Pacquiao is no longer a real threat in the ring. Instead, he's a marketable name that fills seats. In Hackett's view, this bout is more about revenue than relevance.
Sound like Pacquiao trying to hit a lick, you know what I mean? But Pacquiao not Pacquiao no more. It's tough to go against him in this situation because if it was some years ago, Pacquiao would beat Barrios' ass. But right now, Barrios, with his momentum, might fuck around and beat Pacquiao up. I mean, not knock him out, but, you know what I mean, beat him on the cards, beat him behind that jab.
Similar to like Ugas, the Ugas fight?
Yeah, like on some shit like that. It's a good fight, but it's more of a good fight for Barrios. Pacquiao don't need it, but Pacquiao want to come back, and he want to come back with a bang, so, I mean, why not? If he could make it happen, make it happen. Because I would love, if Barrios was my fighter, I would love to have a Pacquiao on the record. I mean, I would love something like this. And that's a fight you know you got to get ready for.
It's a fight that boxing fans want to criticize you for.
Yeah.
But the reality is Manny Pacquiao has a diehard fan base that you're going to make money with that fight.
Yeah.
But everybody wants to see other fights at 47. You, Stanionis, you, Boobs, you, Brian Norman.
Yeah, but he want to steal as much as he can steal. You know what I mean? Because, again, this shit is not forever. Just like anything else. It's going to end. So you want to make some money and you want to do great things, but not so great where I get in there with a guy that'll kill me right now. You know what I'm saying? So, all right, fuck it. I'll fuck with Pacquiao. He damn near 50 years old. I'll fight him. You know what I'm saying? Shit like that. So these dudes different anyway. They different. If I was Barrios, I wouldn't entertain Pacquiao. I'd be on that hunt for the rest of them straps.
Despite Manny Pacquiao's confident attitude and impressive training clips making rounds online, many seasoned boxing insiders remain skeptical. They fear that while Pacquiao's determination is intact, his body might not hold up in actual competition. Training is one thing. Facing a younger, driven opponent like Barrios under fight night pressure is entirely different. Experts are particularly worried about Pacquiao's reaction time, durability, and stamina over multiple rounds.
This is a bad idea. Out of nowhere, the WBC decides they want their welterweight champion, Mario Barrios, to defend his belt against Manny Pacquiao. About 7 to 8, maybe 9, 10 years ago, I would have said, hells yeah, if we had a Manny Pacquiao championship fight. But Manny's been retired for 4 years. He's 46 years old. His last fight was in 2021, and he lost to Ugas in a unanimous decision. I watched his exhibition bout against the kickboxer guy in Japan. And again, I think people will look at this and go, well, Jake Paul fought Mike Tyson, and yeah, that happened. And I also said that Mike was going to get really badly hurt, and it was a terrible idea for him to do that. There were some health issues and everything else. Luckily, Mike didn't get super hurt in the fight, but this is a world championship level fight against a sitting world champion, and Manny does not belong in there. And again, I'm worried that he's going to get hurt badly.
From a commercial perspective, Manny Pacquiao's return to the ring makes perfect business sense. His name still carries immense weight in the boxing world, and any fight he headlines is bound to attract huge attention. To some analysts, this matchup isn't about rankings or titles. It's about profit. With Mario Barrios being young and promotable, the pairing is strategically crafted to generate buzz. According to this viewpoint, the fight is less a sporting contest and more a calculated business move designed to captivate audiences.
Why I wanted that to happen is that if Manny Pacquiao is really considering of coming back to professional boxing, I think that would be a good measurement and sign and a marketing for him when he returned to boxing.
Across social media, fans have expressed a wide range of emotions about Manny Pacquiao's comeback. While some applaud his decision and admire his courage, others believe it may be a step too far. Concerns about his health are widespread, with many fearing that another grueling fight could damage what is viewed by most as an almost flawless legacy. Some fans argue that Pacquiao has already accomplished everything there is in the sport, and that risking injury or a possible loss at this stage is unnecessary.
Manny Pacquiao versus Mario Barrios is a done deal. Fight will either happen July 19th or July 26th in Las Vegas or San Antonio. And it's not going to be a pay-per-view. It's going to be free on Amazon Prime. Whew. We blast Jake Paul for these types of fights. And yet a current world champion and Mario Barrios is going to go after Manny Pacquiao. Listen, I get it. You get to share the ring with the legend of Manny Pacquiao, one of the greatest to all ever do it. But he's been retired now. He's already in the Hall of Fame. Manny Pacquiao did not look good in his previous exhibition he did last year either. Mario Barrios should easily run laps around Manny Pacquiao, destroy him. Why are we wasting time with this type of fight? It makes absolutely no sense to me.
Although Manny Pacquiao's motivations for returning may be deeply personal, critics remain skeptical about whether it's the right decision. The fight community is well aware of how punishing comebacks can be, especially for fighters in their 40s. His opponent, Mario Barrios, isn't just younger. He's active, sharp, and highly motivated. That combination poses a real threat to someone who hasn't faced professional competition in several years.
We could have Brian Norman Jr. versus Barrios, but we're getting Manny Pacquiao versus Barrios. I don't think anyone wants to see that. Manny Pacquiao is past his prime. He's not in his fighting years no more. And then can he make 147? And then you're letting him fight for the belt. That doesn't make any type of sense. And then if he beats Barrios, let's say hypothetically he beats him, is he gonna unify? Because Boots, that's sitting in the lamb to the slaughter. Brian Norman, that's sitting in the lamb to the slaughter. Like, this doesn't make no sense. These young fighters, like, they can really hurt Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao couldn't even handle Ugas. Like, just think about how this is all playing out. It doesn't make sense. This fight shouldn't be made. Like, there's other fighters that Barrios can fight. Like, he could try to fight Boots because I think
Tim Bradley offers an unfiltered assessment of Pacquiao's return. He believes that financial reasons are the main driving force behind comebacks like this. According to Bradley, this fight has little to do with legacy or honor and more to do with securing one final payday. While he respects Pacquiao's legendary career, he doesn't hesitate to suggest that this matchup appears designed for monetary gain. He also considers Barrios a carefully selected opponent, young, talented, and fully capable of pushing Pacquiao to his limits.
Pacquiao getting back in the ring again for a world title fight.
Well, obviously, it has to be pertaining to any kind of money. You know, it has to be financial. I mean, any fighter that comes back, especially from retirement, a guy like Manny Pacquiao, it definitely has to do with money. One, two, I think Manny Pacquiao, I think his C game is a lot better than anybody, a lot of guys' A game, even with the age. But you have to take into account the last time he stepped foot in that ring, man, against Ugas. You know, he didn't look good. He was outmatched by, a younger fighter. Barrios is no slouch. Barrios is a young fighter, bigger fighter, knows how to, control distance very well, can punch a little bit. Like, he's no easy task for anybody in the welterweight division. And for Manny to come back after this long and to face a young guy like that is dangerous. And sometimes, these old legends, they got to get beat up several times before they call it quits. That Ugas fight, I don't know if it was enough for Pacquiao. That's why he's coming back. But Barrios, he can he can finish Pacquiao. There's a possibility that he can finish Pacquiao and basically cause him to go back into retirement once again. But again, what they say, the last thing that leaves is the power. If Manny got any of that power still left in him, if he lands that left hand, he can hurt the young gun. So, but that's easier said than done.
Yeah, I actually think he can beat